Hi, it's Devana, and welcome to another Magical Musings. It's the high point of fall, and the leaves are showing off in the most beautiful ways, depending on where you are. I'm here in mid-Michigan, where the colors are sort of anticlimactic at best. It really isn't much to get all excited about in most places, but my daughter and I went up north about 3 hours, and it was just amazing up there. It was really the most beautiful display of Kodachrome colors that I've ever seen in my entire life. And I've lived here in Michigan most of my life. It felt like I was in the black and white Kansas before I got up north. And then all of a sudden, everything was like Oz when she got out of the house and did the whole tornado thing. I have unofficially diagnosed ADD, and it was just a sensory overload in all of the best ways. It kind of made it hard to drive because there was so much color being thrown in all directions, but it was just amazing. We went up to do a fall color tour and ride the ski lifts to see more on the top of the mountain. The ride really wasn't all that exciting, but once you got up to the top of the mountain, it was breathtaking. I looked around and was just in awe of it all, and I kept thinking, how could you live in northern Michigan and not do everything you can to protect your forests and to make sure that protections are in place to protect the forest? When that is in your backyard every day, why would you not do everything you could to make sure that things like the California wildfire don't happen here in Michigan? It brought out the Greenpeace tree hugger in me even more, which was already pretty active. So that brought on this week's Magical Musings topic. Let's talk about these maple trees. Of course, maples aren't the only ones to show off this season, but they have a lot of magic within them, and that we can use to apply to our own lives. Maple is more than just yummy syrup, and it's more than the leaf on the Canadian flag. We love you, Canada! It's more than the amazing Toronto Maple Leafs hockey team. Love you too. The maple tree is kind of interesting because it's both masculine and feminine, and it's sacred to Libra and Virgo. It's a spirit and water element tree, and it's associated with Moon and Jupiter energy. That's a lot for one tree. And it's not because it can't make up its mind. It's that the tree is so expansive with the infinite possibilities that it doesn't really have to make up its mind. Wish we could all be so lucky. The wood of the maple is used for acquiring knowledge and for communication. It's that higher learning sort of aspect that we find in astrology. It's that kind of a tree. The Romani people used to eat the little whirligig maple seeds for love. My native people used maple syrup as a trade when money and furs and other trade goods weren't available. It's a tree for abundance as well as the practical applications of magic, because it is so abundant and expansive. Using maple syrup in sweetening spells brings an abundance of love that sticks around for a while without the super long workings of honey. And if you're wanting to ease into something gradually, maple is great to use because, like honey, it does sweeten quite well and quite naturally. But just like with honey, you want to go as local as possible and stay out of the supermarkets for the maple syrup. Maple is a sacred tree to the Druids. It teaches us that hard work produces bountiful rewards. And it's not easy to cut down a maple. It's considered a hard wood. A lot of furniture and other items are made out of maple. It's also not easy to extract the maple syrup, but the effort produces a wonderful reward when you stick to it. It has a lot of medicinal properties also in a decoction, like treating coughs, wound healing, cramping, gynecological issues. While we were waiting to ride the chairlift, I was leaning up against a maple and marveled at all the lessons that a maple can teach you. I have a lot of maples also that I walk by that are in the park by where I work. Maple leaves tell us to hold on for as long as we can and then gracefully let go when it's time. Maple leaves tell us that it's okay to strut our stuff, and it's also okay to change when we see the energy around us changing. Maple gives us permission to acclimate and show off a little bit. Maple's about the sweetness of life, no matter how short, and that the hard work we put into things will always be rewarded. but to also not quit just as soon as we get started, because great things do take time. And there's, again, a time and place for everything. Maple shows us that it's okay to reinvent ourselves and then do it again. And then do it again. No two maple trees will ever look alike. The leaves change at different rates. They aren't all uniformly colored or shaped. It may look like from a distance everything is all conformed to the same pattern. Couldn't be further from the truth when you get up close to a maple leaf and you see all the different shapes and sizes. Maple also tells us that beauty comes in every shape and size. We just have to be open to it. Maple also doesn't care if you're not open to it, because it still thinks it's pretty and it still does its thing, whether you approve of it or not, if we could all embody that energy. When you notice the bark on a maple, the younger trees are fairly smooth, but when you see these old timers, they aren't afraid to show you their inner parts. You'll see the bark slightly peeling away, but it's also grown over and healed in those spots too. It also teaches us that it's okay to expose those hidden parts of ourselves. Not everyone will appreciate it, but you aren't doing it for anyone else, right? Maples do sometimes like to grow close together. They understand the importance of a tribe, but they also appreciate the importance of space. You can have your own tribe, but also understand that you're an individual. So what lessons have you learned from maple? What thoughts do you have? I would love to hear from you in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this week's Magical Musings, and we'll see you again next time.